Congressman, what is going on now? You had Trump flying with old Rosenstein the other day down to, where the heck were they flying, to Florida? Yeah. And I saw Rod at the White House at the Kavanaugh thing, and I said, "What'd you sprinkle some pixie dust on the president? What'd you do?" He said, "Suddenly you're best friends." What's the theory there, Congressman?
I don't know, but I still know the facts are the facts, and they've yet to give us the McCabe memos that we subpoenaed. There are all these stories out earlier this week that talk about how serious they took the alleged comments Mr. Rosenstein made about actually recording the president in the Oval Office wearing a wire or tape recording, whatever they were, or phone recording, whatever they were going to do. And there's the fact that it now looks like Mr. Rosenstein's not going to show up tomorrow. So we don't know that for sure, but we're starting to hear rumors that he's not coming to talk to Congress like he was supposed to tomorrow in the Judiciary Committee. So,
well, maybe he thinks that because he has a good relationship with the president now, he doesn't have to come.
Well, maybe, or maybe it has something to do with the stories that were written that said, you know what, he said this to the stories have said he said this to Mr. McCabe and Miss Page, and they then went and talked to Mr. Baker. So, look, we'll hopefully he'll change his mind and he'll be there tomorrow so we can ask him the questions that I think American people deserve to have the answers to.
Congressman Jordan, explain James Baker, the man who is the attorney at the FBI, and why his involvement in all of this and his contacts are so important to the narrative of how this whole Russian investigation was started.
Because he's the chief counsel. When you're the chief counsel at the FBI and you're the guy in the middle of the two biggest investigations run by all these key players, Strzok, Page, McCabe, Comey, that is important. And when it's now being reported that he talked to both McCabe and Page shortly after this meeting took place with Mr. Rosenstein, and that he understood it to be a serious comment made in that meeting, that's why we need to talk to Mr. Rosenstein. And never forget the fundamental facts. When have you ever seen this happen at any federal agency? James Comey, fired, former director. FBI Deputy Director Andy McCabe, lied 3 times under oath, fired. Jim Baker, chief counsel, first demoted, then left the FBI. Lisa Page, FBI counsel, demoted, then left. And, of course, Peter Strzok, the counterintelligence, demoted, then fired. Top people at the FBI demoted or fired. All the key people who ran the Clinton investigation, and then now, as we know, launched and ran the Russian investigation until Mr. Rosenstein named Mr. Mueller to take that investigation over. So that's why this is important, and that's why Mr. Rosenstein needs to be in front of us so we can ask him questions about all that.
Yeah, he's not going to show up. There's no way he's coming.
I don't think he is either.
That's my prediction.
I don't think he is either.
No. He's not going to. He's not going to come. I also, I've got to say, I don't understand why they claimed it was a joke, and maybe I just don't have the sense of humor I really thought I had. But I don't think that was all that funny. Like, I'm going to wire myself. Or get wired, go and tape the president, and then get the 25th Amendment going. I don't understand that. Why is that funny?
I agree with you. I agree with you completely, Laura. You shouldn't be joking about matters like that in front of subordinates. I mean, this is the guy who, in effect, is running the Justice Department. And whether it's sarcasm or a joke or what, it should not be said. Particularly, remember the time that this was done. This was when the whole stinking town was all spun up. This is between May 9th, 2017 and May 17th, 2017. May 9th is the date Rosenstein writes the memo that the president then uses to fire Comey. May 17th is when Rosenstein names Mueller as the special counsel. Sometime in between there, and it looks like it happened on May 16th, is when this alleged conversation took place. So even joking about something in that time frame when that whole city was all spun up about, the special counsel and obstruction of justice and all those issues, all the more reason why you should not be saying something, even if it was a joke.
No, well, again, the main question that is on the table, I think, is, well, Mueller's going to do what Mueller's going to do, but the main question on the table is, why did you surveil an American citizen based on information you received from and paid for from the opponent of Donald Trump? I mean, if that's the standard now, you can start surveilling someone because they traveled to Russia and said hello to a government official at some point, and years ago he was questioned. And poor old Carter Page, I mean, where does he go to get his reputation back, and where does he go to get his legal fees paid? I mean, he's just twisted in the wind for years.
No, it's good you brought that up because sometimes it's important just to go back to the basics. The Clinton campaign, the DNC, paid Perkins Coie law firm, who paid Fusion GPS, who hired a foreigner to go talk to Russians and put together a document that was completely false, totally bogus, totally uncorroborated, and that document became the basis for going to a secret court to get a warrant to spy on Mr. Page because he was associated with the other party's campaign. That is what happened here, and they used the press to get all kinds of information flooding the FBI. So Fusion GPS's Nellie Orr works for them. She gives information to her husband, who then funnels it to the FBI. So she gives information to Bruce Orr, a top Justice Department official. So you got all these sources sending the lie to the FBI, which gives it more credibility. I always say the more people talking about the lie, the easier the lie is to believe. And that's exactly what took place here. But it's still a lie, and they used that to go spy on the other campaign. It's as wrong as it gets.
What's your sense about the midterm elections? I mean, do you think Kavanaugh, the energy from that, is going to sustain the Republicans to cut maybe some of the Democrat gains that they're still predicting in the House? How do you see this playing out?
Yeah, I hope so. I was out and about across our district and was in Florida the other night, and people were fired up that our Senate held tough and confirmed a good man who was being attacked by the left. I think a lot of people are beginning to see that the left has gone completely crazy. We did a tweet the other day and had more people comment on this. We said today's left, applaud Kaepernick, destroy Kavanaugh. And that's today's left. They embrace the radical, applaud Kaepernick when he disrespects the flag, embrace Cuomo when he says America was never that great, cheer on Maxine Waters when she says go out and harass people who support the president. And oh, by the way, we're going to destroy Kavanaugh in the process too. I mean, that's today's left, and I think it is beginning to fire up conservative voters and Republican voters. I hope it is sustained over the next 26 days and that we can keep the majority in the House.
Do you look over your shoulder more now with what's happening out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to. I don't know if I shared this with you, Laura, but Polly and I, we were at back in June, literally 2 days after Maxine Waters did her first rant, and we got what I call the treatment from a lady. We were out, and we were in a line of people moving into the theater, and she just started yelling shame and evil and Jim Jordan, terrible, all this stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. We would never do that to people who are on the left. But they seem to want to do that all the time now. So you do kind of just watch a little bit more. But, look, I wish they wouldn't do that. I don't think it's appropriate. Let's just fight about and argue about the ideas. Let's not make it personal. Let's not run people out of restaurants and do all the things that they're advocating.
Well, they're going to do it. They've vowed to do it,
yep.
And it's what they have now. They're holding on to the anger. By the way, there was an interesting thing which I forgot to ask you earlier, Congressman. Andy McCarthy, the former assistant U.S. attorney, Southern District of New York, he made this point on my show last night about Rosenstein and why the president may not end up removing him as deputy AG. Let's listen.
I think the president realizes that if he were to get rid of Rosenstein at this point, it would be like firing Comey times 3, and it would give Mueller a reason to extend the investigation. Why would he want to do that? I mean, it looks like now there's not going to be any charges. They're staffing down. They've transitioned a lot of these cases that they brought to other components of the Justice Department. This is about over.
What do you think about that?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like things are pretty quiet, so they must be writing the report, correct?
Yeah, I hope so, and I think that's probably that could be right, and I obviously respect Mr. McCarthy and all the things he's written about and all he's done. So, look, I don't think there's going to be any changes made to the Justice Department until after the election, until after Bob Mueller's done. I think that's obvious. It's obvious that the president wants a new attorney general, and I think that will happen at some point too. But I don't think that's going to happen until after the election and until after the special counsel's work is finished.
Jim Jordan, always great to talk to you. Congressman from the great state of Ohio. Congressman, thanks so much.